So what do they have in store for us? Undead dragon, of course. You have Destroy Undead, might be the one place where it's actually useful for something.
So now you've managed to find me. I've waited all too long for your arrival.
Come on, stop pretending you planned it that way.
Ha 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 ha! What do you know of my intentions? Have I not sent you the Seekers to lure you onto my trail? Have I not left the signs of my existence so clearly that you absolutely could not miss me? Were not the possessed of your kind reason enough for you to seek after the secret driving force? As much as you twist and turn, you cannot dispute all of that. There is only one thing that was not predetermined. You have destroyed one of my servants. He was chosen to bear the claw. As I see, you now bear it. For this outrage, you will die.
Why are you here?
The divinity bestowed upon me will inspire me to drown the world in a river of violence. Only when the last fortress of the righteous has fallen shall I rest.
Who are you?
You still have to ask that? Search within yourself, you fool. You know who I am. I bear no name. Just as you bear no name. I am given the divine power from my Creator. Just as you bear the power of your God in you, my fate is in the destruction of the world. Just as the preaching of the faith of Enos is your purpose, Magician of Fire, do you not feel the bond that ties us together? Yes, you know who I am.
No, that cannot be. Zardis always said...
Zardis is weak and no threat to me. You alone are worthy of facing me. So it is written. The time has come to accept your fate.
On whose behalf are you leading your minions to war against humankind?
My master is the Lord of Night. You know him. You can hear his call. My armies will rise from the ground in his name and shroud the world in darkness.
Okay, I'll take your word for it.
Enough said. I shall chase you back under the rock from whence you crept, you monster.
You're not yet ready to defeat me. Only one brief moment, and I shall have reached my goal. Your bones will serve me to let the ill winds of death blow across the world.
It's not taking a single point of damage from this. Ah. There is no purpose to this. I thought they might be, but why exactly do I need to do this anyway? Is he just immune to destroy undead or what? It's immune. Not exactly a surprise. What are you doing anyway? Anything. To be fair, that was pretty much my reaction to just shrug. Huh? What else are you supposed to say to that? I guess time to get the hell out of here.
Hey, you! It's all over. Now we can get out of here.
Now will you look at this? I've never seen such a construction all my life. How on earth did you manage to get past that thing?
I was lucky, I suppose.
If you say so.
What are you going to do now?
That's a good question. I think I'll go back to Corinus first. Or maybe I'll simply take over Bromo's business. There's always money in that. Honest money. Go to the captain now, and let's get out of here.
I'm not sure what's the purpose of having me actually walk away from here. Unless something worthwhile still happens.
I found Pedro.
What? Where? Here on the island? Damn, but he's absolutely unbelievable. I really had no idea he was such a tough bastard. I've got a bone to pick with him before too long.
Do you have experience with dragon eggs?
No, not really. I have heard that a clever alchemist once managed to brew a powerful potion from it. But please don't ask me for the recipe, I have no idea.
All right, that's it. The temple is now deprived of its power.
How do you always pull it off,
Damned if I know.
Are we ever gonna get any peace? We've certainly deserved it.
What will you do now?
I'm thinking about founding my own academy and preaching our faith. But it could turn out otherwise. I've never regretted becoming a magician of fire. How do you feel about it?
I'm not so sure.
Dry as always. Hey man, you just saved the world. Isn't that reason to rejoice?
Maybe.
Come on, my friend. I think the first thing you need now is 40 winks. You should go straight to the captain and tell him to weigh anchor.
It is hard to really rejoice. I never found the... There's always a gauntlet to the final boss, but...
For Innos!
Yeah, for Innos. I never thought that that's a good time to start pulling puzzles and things like that out of your ass. That's when you sort of want to let the momentum of the situation really carry it to the end. Instead of trying to block or stop the progress and flow. And so,
For Innos!
yeah, for Innos.
We won't be here much longer.
It's like my headaches just blew away. How did you do that?
I have destroyed the enemy.
It must have been something very powerful. So what was it exactly?
An undead dragon. Your former friends from the swamp camp gave me a pretty hard time.
Yes, faith can move mountains. That's how it's always been. Unfortunately, they served the wrong god. I'll need some time before I can really get over all this. Hopefully nothing like that will ever happen again. There isn't as much swamp weed in the world as I'd like to smoke right now.
Yeah, I feel these kind of discussions could have been done in a way that doesn't have me walking around empty hallways constantly. I mean, a meeting on the ship or right in front of the ship before we depart, or something like that. Something to. This is too little content spread over too wide of an area. This feels like it reminds me of I don't recall what versions. It's MechWarrior 2 Ghost Bear's Legacy, where after the sort of the final fight is over, and the ending cutscene comes, you get sort of transition cutscenes even after that, before you get to the final sort of report from the for the final mission. I mean, they don't contribute anything. You don't want to watch them. They're there just to. They're not super long, but they're like maybe a minute of totally unrelated, boring transition cutscenes that are there for no reason. It's just unnecessary and silly. Padding. But this padding is questionable at best of times. At now, when the ending boss is dead, sort of got the cutscene and everything. Don't pad this anymore. It just now you really feel it, because this is totally pointless. Thanks for being useless.
You stayed with the ship?
Sure I did. Just imagine what we'd do if it weren't there anymore. There's nothing left here for us. Tell the captain to clear the ship.
If I can find the captain in this darkness.
Nobody wants to know.
Tired?
I'm completely done in.
Go hit the sack. We'll soon be at sea again.
Thank you. I already thought I'd fall right off this bench. Good night.
You have to feel sorry for me.
Nobody wants to know.
That's just what I said.
That's no secret.
Anything's possible.
Do you know what? I bet they're sleeping in their beds. That's what they're doing.
I have a ring from the Orcish warlords.
I suspect that Lord Hagen will be able to do something with that. Give it to me. I shall deliver it to Lord Hagen.
Here, take it.
Thanks. I don't think you have much use for it anyway.
We can cast off now.
It's about time. I thought for sure I would rot here on this rock. Now surrender the ship to me immediately.
We're not in Corinus yet, and to be honest, I'm not terribly keen on going back to Corinus. I've been there long enough.
I thought as much. But this is neither the time nor the place to straighten this out. We shall discuss this again at sea. So what? I'm glad to have you back on board in one piece, nevertheless. Even if you are a rascal, in the end you acted with righteousness. All right. Now go to the captain and let him navigate us out of here.
In the darkness, amidst a mountain of jagged rocks. I bet the game crashes before we get the hell out
I'll
of here.
never get this open without the right key.
Yeah. Yeah, they're asleep.
I did it. I eliminated the enemy.
I had hoped that everything would turn out well, but I must admit that during those last few hours, I haven't been so sure. Can we finally set sail again now? And the humans slew the beast, and it entered into Beliar's realm.
Zardos, what exactly happened in the Temple of Irdarath?
With the help of Innos, you have defeated the Avatar of Evil, and I have taken its power unto myself. Since I left the Circle of Fire, this alone has been my goal. What was denied to me in the Temple of the Sleeper has now finally come to pass. Beliar has chosen me.
So, you obey the God of Darkness now?
No, I do not obey Beliar any more than you obey Innos. Not even the gods know what fate has in store for us. And I am only just beginning to grasp what options are open to me. But one thing is certain. We shall meet again.
Maybe in Gothic 3. I don't want to listen to this. Or this.
We're overloaded. We have to toss some of the gold overboard.
Get your hands off the gold.
Listen, it would be really better if we...
I don't want to hear any more about it.
I've heard the war with the orcs is going badly.
And?
We probably won't be able to spend all the gold anywhere.
The gold stays on board.
What good is the gold if we capsize in the tiniest storm?
But I don't see a storm.
Not yet.
Relax. Everything will turn out all right.
Okay. I'm loading the game. I don't intend to play it or anything, but music in this opening screen is extremely loud at times. So, Gothic 2. And our alternative life as a thief. Oh, come on. Yeah. Gothic 2, what to say about it? Compared to Gothic 1, I think this is pretty much a straight up improvement. I can't really say when I think about Gothic 1 that anything in that was better than in Gothic 2, so if Gothic 1 is something that you might enjoy, Gothic 2 certainly is better in my opinion. Not sure how much of a difference it really makes. The game is basically the same. I didn't load the game just for the fun of it, or just to avoid the music. This is more of a... I played a little bit, yeah, this is a level 9 mercenary, with other classes too, just to actually kill time when my family was here in the Christmas holidays. Couldn't record, but also to get an idea of how much the experience changes between classes, and I have to say it does quite a bit. So I don't want to shit too much on the game because of our difficulties with the mage at the early game, because after playing a thief it feels that the difficulties are very much related to actually playing a mage. And even then, if you have a little bit more intimate knowledge of how the spells work, you could probably smooth that ride quite a bit, which is one of my, I guess, my larger complaints about this is that you don't really know. Even if you have the manual, you won't know it. They're useless. Even if you have the scrolls available, you don't know it. The information critical to basically decide what spells are worthwhile and what not is not provided anywhere by the game itself. It's not that easy to find on the net either because of the expansion pack changes the rules. So, and it's you don't exactly know what you're getting with certain summoning spells, for example. So I feel that's a big complaint because of how difficult it is to actually get the runes. You have to make them, no way to buy them, and it's a significant learning point investment at the start of the game to even get access to them with your limited mana doubly so. So you can normally, well, let's take example for a pretty typical D&D game. There's like a Baldur's Gate. There's full every scroll, every time you look at a spell, there's a full description with all the details what this game, what the spell actually does. You can easily make decisions between them. Manual contains them, and making the choice is much less meaningful in that because you can just rest and relearn the spells you wanted. Here, it's a huge chore to do significant investment in character building resources, and nowhere does is the information, I mean full information what the spell is supposed to do is being provided. So you're sort of shit out of luck, and that's what I feel is one of the big weaknesses of this game. You don't really have information available that would be needed to make a smooth transition and understand what you're choosing and getting into. So there's a high probability that you do make some very bad decisions or you ignore some very good ones because you have to choose a path and you don't really know what to take. The game says all the classes are balanced, but that's a load of bullshit, gigantic load. Mage had a huge problem with almost anything. The archer does more damage. It can hit right next to at melee range, and the shots are counted in the hundreds. Each arrow is one goal, to which you have, even I could probably have at this point easily 1,000+ arrows. So you can count that. That's like playing the mage with several hundred fireballs or something like that you don't have to drink potions between to use. It's not quite that because there's a to hit percentage, but that's basically the deal you're gonna get. So the classes are not balanced at all. Even to claim that is absolutely ridiculous. Mage is much tougher, I feel. The start is slow. You need intimate knowledge of what about the spells if you want to even have even pretend you have a competitive class. And at the end of the game, it's ridiculously overpowered. There's no fighting anymore at the end. The moment you get that greater firestorm, you can just move forward. Every time you see an enemy, you press a button and everything dies. The elite orcs were the only creature that survives that, so you press 2 buttons and everything dies. And you have enough wealth so you can afford. I think we're probably like 100+ mana potions still left when we ended the game. So dragons all go down, everything goes. Doesn't matter if there's 100 enemy coming at you, everything dies. So it's ridiculously overpowered. I just don't know. I would guess the other major complaint I have about this game is that it's too loose. It's not tight. There's a lot of traveling and going back and forth between places that is totally unnecessary. Nothing happens in the travels between or anything. It's just time you're wasting for no particular game. The game should have it sort of bothers me even more because the game itself gives you the quick travel options you should have had at the start between the major settlements. I guess they didn't figure out how to do it in a way where you have to travel there at least once. Basically what modern Fallout games or Elder Scrolls games do. But clearly they were aware that it is a problem because they provided the significant amount of teleportation options in this game, bypass some of it. What I have problem with is that everything has to be a chore to get. There's no even any kind of basic map of the area you're going into. It could have been just given to you by Zard at the start of the game. Doesn't have to have all details, but major settlements. If you want to get locations of caves, locations of shrines, maybe a more detailed location of major creature lairs or something like that, then you buy those specialized maps. But it's 250 gold for the basic map in the game, without which you can't really navigate at all. Especially if you haven't played this game before. Naturally, if you have, you don't give a shit about the map because it's not that complicated of an area. I can memorize it, I think, perfectly at this point. So it feels like it makes you sweat for basic features that a modern game should have, and I don't see any real reason why they shouldn't have, because it doesn't serve any good story point or interesting gameplay portion. It serves as forcing you to do pointless busy work and delays you from getting into the actual game and the good parts. So I just don't see the value in it. The game is worse when you're at the start of it. So why exactly you want to design systems that extend that excruciating dull period of the game more than it needs to, I don't know. Maybe it was... I usually think that's sort of a legacy thing. Because we did that in a previous game, or some popular game at the time did it, then we copy that and don't really give a proper thought at what do we want to do with this mechanic in our game. What purpose does it serve? So there's no real thought into going to the fact, can we make this better? But overall, I still think this game is a good one. I mean, a proper good adventure role-playing game. It's fairly simplistic. The simplistic is more of a problem because you're playing on your own. There's no party mechanics or anything like that. The spells are fairly simplistic. Direct damage and summoning mainly only. Couple of exceptions, but they're exceptions. It's not a... It seems like a fairly large open world where you can explore. There are a lot of things to do. There's nothing particularly wrong about it. I mean, really, really wrong. There's just extra tedium added to it, which is tedious, naturally, but there's no like broken mechanics, something that really doesn't work or something like that. It's just... it's a fine, solid game that has a little bit of room to improve on certain things that would really make it a lot better. But it's still a good game. Definitely better than the first one, and makes me at least fairly interested in moving on to Gothic 3. So yeah, and I wouldn't mind playing this more, even if it was basically the same system. So that's always a good sign. So I'm happy to have played it, and I wouldn't mind getting back to this some other time. Certainly wouldn't play as a maid. It's very slow and tedious early game, totally boring and overpowered late game. There was a brief period where it was sort of okay, but it was never really balanced well throughout the entire game. Just playing as a thief for what little I've played, start of the game is much faster. You can because you can actually fight properly. You can level up much more rapidly and get through the necessarily early parts where you get your basic fighting capability, you get your sneaking around, lockpicking, that sort of thing. I can't say for the middle or late game, but I can't see this becoming that overpowered because this has no way of handling groups. And you don't have mana to even throw some of those spells, so you can use the scroll still, just as fine, so you probably want to gather up on those to help you, but I think overall this would have provided a much more enjoyable experience, much faster to get into things, and things would have properly been a decent challenge at the end instead of just walking forward and pressing a button and everything dying. But yeah, overall Gothic 2, good game with some problems.